All right, guys, another Sunday scan coming at you. This time it's for November 16th. We've got a lot to cover today, a lot of good action coming, but I think most of it is going to depend on what happens out of the gate on Monday. And the reason for that is because obviously all the EV, the electronic vehicle space, everything has been going crazy. So are we going to all gap down 10% or are we going to gap up 5, 10%, like usual? So with that said, it could be all over the place. So the key is really going to have to be having two plans, and being prepared for if it goes here, what are the key levels? And if it flushes out, what are the key levels? So that's going to be one of the biggest things. And then the other thing is we've got a lot of earnings this week. A lot of JD is a China name. There's, I think, GE as well as a few other BJ's typically has some really good range. The other one was Target. Target typically, gaps up and if it holds trend over 9:45, 10 a.m., it could keep on going all day. That's what happened last time. So I think it's important to come with a clean slate and kind of figure it out in the morning as far as where you're zoning in, like we typically do. But we still have some great opportunities, still have some great names to watch. It's just, it's not, all right, this is 100% the trade I'm taking. So, couple things, housekeeping before we get into it. First and foremost, this Thursday at 7 p.m., November 19th, we're doing State of the Market webinar, which I'm sure most of you guys that are on this email list for the scans have already seen. If you're not, we'll have a link in the description. You can join for that. But we've done a couple of them before, basically taking everything that is currently important in the markets and then coupling it with typical just things to help you out as a trader and compiling it into one hour, a little bit more than an hour type of webinar environment, and we go from there. So that'll be a great place for you guys to come, as well as if you have follow-up questions and things like that after, we'll be able to point you in the right direction to where you can get that help. So that was the first thing. Second thing is last week, since I did like 50 takes because my voice wasn't cooperating, I owe a winner for IU for the month, which we are doing Wayne Bernarche, or just Bernarche, I don't know. But you won the free month of IU. And once again, all you guys got to do, leave a key takeaway, something that you guys took from the pre-video or the scan, something that I said and that aha moment. Share it with me, share it with others. And then that is going to allow me to kind of figure out where I'm going to go the next Sunday and what kind of things I'm going to talk about and what was really an aha moment for other people. Whatever the one that is most popular is probably going to be a good talking point. So that is for 2 weeks ago. And then for the t-shirt this week, Andrew Speck, you've got the t-shirt for this week. So we'll fire that off. All you guys got to do is email me, webmaster@investorsunderground.com, and we'll get that situated for you guys. Then this week I put out a video for a challenge donating up to $10,000 for anybody that does the Avidity Fitness Challenge. So I've said it a bunch of times. Sometimes people, come, sometimes people don't. But whenever I do these challenges, a lot of people do. And, you got to get past that 4 or 6 classes. And then you're going to really feel good about, actually doing it and changing your lifestyle a little bit. So as I said in the video, if you come to 4 out of the next 6 sessions, I'm donating $250 to Building Dreams for Marines. If you come to 6 out of the next 10, then I'm donating $500 to Building Dreams for Marines. So with that said, this is the last day that we're accepting new people that want to do it, because we're going to go free until Thanksgiving. So everybody's welcome. But like I said, if you guys end up doing the sessions, which it is 100% free to you, then I am donating. So make sure you contact me or Zach. I'll put his information in there as well. we've been either emailing or DMing access to the event. But we had a great number of about 30 people, which is the highest that we've had, in a single session. And the majority of them were traders. So that was really cool to see. Other housekeeping notes. John, one of our members, had been doing, it's just something that he came up with. And he had been doing study sessions on the weekend with, a handful of guys, and they'd all, grab the mic at some point and share, something that they felt that was either a key takeaway from the week or, a big win in why or a big loss in why, and different things that are going to help the trader excel. And so, he's learning just like everybody else. And so he started doing these. So now there's been, a bunch more people coming. But the way that it's structured is, less about, coming and just asking all these different random questions, but more about, come, sit, take in what you can. Leave when you want, come back when you want, whatever. We post the recordings anyway. But really cool to have him doing that. I've been getting a lot of good, positive feedback. Especially if you're new, it might not be dealing with some of the complex type stuff that we typically, that I might typically cover. So, and as you guys know, we also do Cody beginners webinars twice a month. So Odd Stock Trader, that you guys know probably on Twitter, he does 2 beginners webinars per month where you can just come, bring your questions, and pretty much go from there. T-shirt winner we did, and then the last pieces before we get into the scan for this week. We are at an incredible time in this market. Things that I've never seen happen are happening. Opportunities that I never thought were possible happening more and more and more. I think Friday was probably, I fumbled it a little bit. I don't like to say shoulda, coulda, woulda. I think that if I had a little bit more buying power, I think that if maybe I didn't pre-exhaust myself, but I also didn't want to dig a hole too deep in the sense that Wednesday, Thursday, were okay days, but at the same time, I also was kind of pre-exhausting myself. I prevented it, but you start to scale in and then it comes all the way back. Start to scale in, comes all the way back, and then you turn a winner into a loser. And that really the key is that trade is close. It's close, but you have to respect the stops. You have to respect either turning a big win to a flat trade. That's fine. It's going to happen. Turning a big win into a big loser, that's where you need to prevent it. It's fine to take losses along the way, but the key is really, not to step in front of something and just, sit there and say, it doesn't make sense. It has to go down. It's ran too much. Those are always the famous last words. So I definitely, as a trader personally, I probably could have traded the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday a little bit better. Some gains, some losses, but a lot of time spent trying to figure it out versus just letting it happen and waiting for that A+ opportunity, which was Friday. And I wouldn't even call that an A+. I would say like A and then like 20 pluses. I've never seen an opportunity like that at that capacity, that price range ever. There was Tesla and Apple leading into the forward splits. Those are great opportunities. Yes, we had the pot names over the last week and a half, which were crazy. But at this capacity, this level, $25 billion traded on the names, I've never seen something that liquid, that crazy, happen. And so I knew it was close, but like I said, from how do I improve myself week over week? I still think that, if you go back on Thursday, it was just, steady bid, steady bid, steady bid. It was over VWAP the entire day, right? So if the A plus trade is going to be a gap up parabolic off the open and then fail by 10 a.m. is the goal, then why not just wait? Why not just wait for that? Why always try to find the top? So that's always my biggest battle, especially being a stubborn trader. I need to make sure that I don't pre-exhaust myself. So fortunately, I didn't pre-exhaust myself, and I got all of it on Friday. At a great level. But I do think that had I come in, maybe had I not touched it the last couple days, and again, some were good trades, some were minimized trade, and some were losses in the prior days. But I feel like if I hadn't been trying to do that, I feel like Friday would have been even better. But like I said, I've never seen an opportunity like that. I was just very happy and fortunate to get a big piece of it. But most importantly, I tweeted this and I said it in the room. Forget that the top, right? Look how much it unwound after, right? We're all so focused on getting that first crack. And I always like to remind people and remind everybody in the room, don't forget what happens after the crack, right? We've been watching it go straight up for 2, 3, 4 weeks. And it pulled back, yeah, sure, 3-4 points. But what is it? It's not even back to the prior day's lows, right? It's still up 8, 9, 10 off the prior day's lows. It's crazy. So there is still that big opportunity for that unwind. But the problem is, it's just like the prior days. How do you know it's that day? So fortunately, it was pretty... It was a nice trader. It showed its hand, when it rebounded. It did stay heavy. It did keep on failing to follow through. The prior days, not so much, where it'd flush out and then swipe back up. That's difficult tape. But Friday was a lot cleaner. You got to juggle between patience and greed, and you got to be okay with locking it in. And because I locked it in where I did, it gave me the ability to re-lean into the red to green fail on NEO for the unwind. So I would encourage you guys to go back. I posted the timestamps from when I posted the trade in the room. As you guys know, I like to get in there. I have to be in there, but when I go to the room, it's when I'm most confident with the idea. So I might dabble. Ahead of time, but if my just to throw out a hypothetical, but if I want to get to 50 or 100,000 shares, I'm not going to just hit 50 or 100,000 shares. I'm going to short, 2,000, 5,000, maybe 10,000 on the front side. And then as the trade progresses, I might quickly scale 20, 50 to, 100. But that's just an example of how I would scale on the backside as things start to progress and go into the trade formation that I am expecting. So I like the way that it panned out. I like the way that it worked. I was not afraid to continue to add into the winter. And I think we're going to have a lot more of that maybe into the year end, but also, 2021. I mean, get prepared. These things are happening more and more often. You used to only see these every now and again. I would say it's probably happened 6 or 7 times this year, and I can't remember them all offhand. But like I said, Apple, Tesla, pot names, and obviously the EV space, a lot of the SPACs, and things like that. Maybe in a couple weeks back or a couple months back. But I mean, it's getting progressively more crazy, and we're going to continue to have these opportunities, even like Zoom, ZM. I mean, just the way it fell, $200, rebounds, I don't know, like 40, 50, $80, and then pulls back. I mean, it's insane times right now, and it's about being on the right side of the trade, not trying to figure it out. And the reason for that is the tape is so thin. It's, nowadays, ETFs own a bunch of stock, different indexes, different funds. And so the float gets progressively smaller over time. And then these crazy moves happen. We look at the valuation, but in the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It's not like the mutual funds are just liquidating all one day. No, they just hold forever. So a lot of times that stock is just gone, right? And so we look at the market cap. Yeah, it's crazy, but it's not like they're like, oh, it's up, 50% today, we're going to take it off. That's not how it works. And so what happens is people start making those decisions based on the market cap and how it doesn't make sense, and they start to get ran over. And it's options driven, just like you saw with SoftBank and Apple and Tesla, and just continually buying out of the money call options. All it takes is somebody with a lot of buying power, and billions, and the ability to do that and withstand the losses if a bigger whale comes along, right? So anyway, killer way to end of the week. From an IU perspective, we've been doing this since 2008 as the chat room, and as you guys know, I've been trading 17 years. But since I started the room in 2008, I had the most PMs and feedback and DMs and all that kind of stuff ever on Friday, with people's career days, best days, all that good stuff. So what does that mean to you? One is, if you did have a career day or your best day on Friday, congratulations, but move on. Move on, because it doesn't mean anything on Monday. And if you didn't, and you feel FOMO and you feel upset and you feel like you're missing pace compared to others, oh well, move on. Because as soon as you start comparing yourself to others, you're going to start to go backwards. As soon as you feel like you're missing out on all these profits and you start getting more aggressive in the market, you're going to start to bring out all these different emotions, all these different kind of second guesses. Your confidence is going to go down on particular trades because, you're oversized. So you're going to start to kind of, am I doing the right thing? What should I do? And yeah, you might have been right all along, but you were not positioned correctly to let the trade work. So that's a lot of the stuff that you're going to figure out along the way. But if I can help you prevent that, hopefully those words do. And, I used to and still do deal, with that a lot. I know a lot of people doing extremely well in this market. Extremely, like, beyond words well. And you know what? If that's where my focus is, I start to see myself, kind of getting off course. So I trade what I'm best at, and the more I practice and the more that I focus on that process, when those big opportunities like NEO, XPEV, and LI on Friday happen, I'm there, and obviously the results are produced. So keep that in mind. Keep your head, in gear, and focus on you and being better than you were on Friday. That doesn't mean P&L. It just means a better trader. So I think that's it. Personal, yeah. I was talking about my personal range kind of going up and down on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I was ranging in my P&L swings, and then Friday obviously was the big one. But I did prevent that pre-exhaustion. I came Friday. I was not like, ugh. I want this to be off radar. I don't want to trade it. No. And that was the most important thing. And the last piece of note that I had up here anyway was patience. About 9:45, 10 a.m. And that's exactly, 8:50 a.m. I get on the microphone every single morning, and I, kind of share what my current thoughts are, calm people down on Mondays, like, hey, relax. We have all week. We have all day. And then on Friday, the goal was relax, put the brakes on. I want to see clarity. I want to, I might be right off the open, or I might be wrong. It depends on if we get that $1 or $2 candle. And if you're on the right side, great, you made money. If you were on the wrong side, you lost, right? So for me, the focus anyway was 9:45, 10 a.m. plus, and then start to zone in. So as you saw, I said, all right, now I'm starting to zone in, and then that's when I made the trade call for NEO, XPEV, and LI. So let's get into it. All right, guys. So first and foremost, NEO, LI, and XPEV, obviously, right? Those are going to be the most popular ones. So let's take a look at NEO. NEO, obviously, we've got some great action so far, the last couple of days. But, what are the key levels that I'll be looking at? I think it's pretty clear. 45 is going to be a key level. That was the area that it pushed into off the lows. And I actually got long. One of the goals that I set on Sunday Scan 2 weeks ago or so was, when I'm done and when I'm covering these things, I don't know why I don't get long. And so anyway, I did flip to the long side a couple times on these flushes, which worked out pretty well. I definitely sold it too soon, but it's a starting point, right? I got long off this flush into the 41s, and I sold into the mid 42s, and that's probably about as far as I made it. I redabbled in a little bit, but nothing crazy. But anyway, 45's key level, and then you can kind of see that there's a little bit of consolidation, and 44.50, which is the prior clothesline. That to me is a key level because when it was pulling back, it was basing there quite often, and then when it did break through, it peaked at that level. So I think 44.50s is going to be key, and then we've got probably about 43. So 43 to 45, be cautious. Be cautious getting aggressive in between that level. We could be in for a complete upset, right? We might get all prepared, and then there's just nothing really going on. I think we're going to have one big trade off the open. And then I think that 9:45, 10 a.m. plus will have some type of trend to join. But keep in mind, they report on Tuesday after the close. XPEV and LI, very similar. And just to kind of give you just a quick look, XPEV, looking left, it's always good to have sort of a game plan, right? So if you were watching XPEV pre-market, you never want to go to the penny, right? So, you call it pretty much $50. 50 was obviously a psychological key level, but it was also where it had trouble pre-market, right? 730s came back down, they squeezed it right through. So you never want to be super aggressive, step in front of it, and, not think that it can go any higher. But it's a good starting point to recognize, and that if it does blast through it, sure, you could short into that, but it might be worth waiting for it to fail back under that level. Then you have another, check, it failed again. And so same thing on LI, you had a very similar situation over here where you had a top pretty much around the 40, pretty much 41.20 level or so. 41 base for quite some time, then it finally busted. So if you look, the support, which was at 41, finally cracked, comes back, it retested it, and it failed. And if you saw, that's where I actually shorted into the pop there. Straight down. I mean, it couldn't have gotten any better. I mean, you get 10 points per share in no time. That was great, and it worked out really, really well. This one, I would say, had the most relative weakness versus the peers, compared to how XPEV came back for a couple lives, and then Neo came back pretty well. I would say that LI was the weakest of the bunch. And so with that said, I'm going to be watching Neo as the index. I'll be watching XPEV. I'll be watching LI. I'm sure I'll have stuff to say in the room. But for right now, you got to have an open mind. Just look at the levels, kind of come prepared. These levels here, I would say 43 range and probably around 40 or so. So 40, 43. I'd react to those trades, top end of the channel, bottom end of the channel, but I don't want to stay or be aggressive if we're, in between them. And same thing with LI. Like I said, I think this one's the weakest. So in a perfect world, we get a gap up, we push through 31.50, and then we start to fade back under 30s. But I think peak volume, peak craziness was Friday, so you want to be cautious with getting too aggressive with size. You want to be cautious fighting with size, because if you get on the wrong side, it's not going to be as forgiving as maybe Friday was, where you had a lot of opportunity to kind of get in and get out, trade around a core. The next couple, CBAT and Solo, these ones went nuts, obviously, with the EV names. So far, you can see, nice parabolic move, and then the basketball analogy that we talk about on Tandem Trader with basically a base at 610s. So I'd be watching, in a perfect world, we gap up 650 plus, it fails to follow through, and then we get some type of unwind. But it really, I think, depends on what these names do. If Neo just hangs around and holds up all day, then this one and CBAT very well could. CBAT didn't have any crazy range. You can see that it actually held, and a lot of people ask me about linear regression, and all I do is I have the same settings that DAS has. I didn't adjust them. So if you just put on linear regression on your DAS charts, that's the settings I have. I know you can adjust them, but I haven't changed them. But you can actually see, not that I use these in any big capacity, but you can see how it did actually hold that channel. Right here you can see the base here, and then again over here. So anyway, this one this was a Thursday, prior to Thursday, as well as Thursday add swing idea, and so we woke up with a $2 gap, which was fantastic. So I sold most about 620s or so. I sold a little bit in the 5s, but it held pretty well. So the key levels for me, I think, is going to be right around where it is, because you can see that there was a little bit of support right over here through the day, and then each time it retested it, it's kind of failed. So I think that 630, 650s is going to be a good blow-off spot, and then watch for failed follow-through momentum. And I think just to put a line on solo, I would even say VWAP level, probably the key, but 650 psychologically, and then maybe around 610, like I said, 580s. So I would say blast through 640, 650s, potential unwind, cautious around 580s. If it stays heavy at 580s, potential unwind. And these lines, especially the lines that I gave in the room on Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, a lot of people, these are not, you can't tape read Neo and XPEV and LI. It's really, you got to take a step back and look at the big picture. If you try to figure out level 2 like you do on small caps for sure. Small cap momentum names, you can get a good feel, because it's not these big players, Neo style players, just taking full float positions and then working it out with an algorithm of some sort. It's, Neo is a totally different ball game. And anytime I try, especially on XPEV, I was talking about it in the room, this is what I think would happen, but it hasn't been happening, and so sometimes you can confuse yourself with trying to figure it out. So that's why it's important to just make it simple. Make it simple. And this is the level it's got to hold, and it can break out. This is the level that needs to hold, and it'll break down. So that's it for those. SRRK was the only other failed follow through. It looks like maybe we might finally have some type of fade. You can see that there's been a steady buyer at that 41 level, so that's going to be the key. One thing that I would do, and actually I'll do it, right now. I typically I'll set a price alert, and I'll go SRRK and just put a 41, and I will do a 41.50 and just alert me. Alert me when that happens, because I know that I want to probably fade that. Everybody's going to forget about it. They're going to look back, and as soon as it breaks 41, it probably goes 38, right? Slowly. And so I want to be alerted to that. So that will alert me. I won't miss it. But for right now, I'd be watching pops potentially on maybe 44 range. And if 44 stays heavy, look for the continued fade. But I think a lot of people have forgot about this. They did raise, I think it was $38 or so. But that doesn't mean it has to hold that level. And, a lot of people have it off radar. It just did a big failed, take this off for a minute. It just did a big failed breakout. You can see that there's pretty much been a seller in this 46 range. So I think that if it fails at 44, fails at 43, we could have a nice fade to 41. If 41 stays heavy, possible bottom falls out. On the long side, and again, I have main watches, failed follow through, continuation, and then staying familiar names. All of which you can get in the description. Just click the link, it comes over to the website, and you can check it out. So AYRO, this one I am long from Friday. It had a nice big gap, or it had a nice gap and then nice breakout. So as I said, I was putting on a few just to kind of be there, but I wanted to quietly pretty much scale in if 350s, 360s started to build later in the day. And that's exactly what happens. 350 started to base, 360 started to base, and then, nice breakout. So I'm holding that one. Hopefully we get some nice, continuation, nice breakout there. But if not, and if 410s, 420s continue to give it trouble, then, I'll go ahead and move on. Craig, same thing. Just joined. This one's been having a decent buyer in the tape the last couple days. You can kind of see they've just been soaking it up and continually bidding it higher. I've noticed a lot of bids in the China names lately. A lot of these old China names, just like LYL is even going LYL. Things like that, just random ones, but it all comes back. And if you look at the charts, China. So I feel like people are starting to accumulate all these different China names that have already gone to some extent, but also maybe haven't gone yet. So it's worth noting. We definitely had some good action there. APVO, fantastic for those of you guys that are trading it. It's been a nice one. We had a nice opportunity to reaccumulate some of the sells under 40s. It went to 38, 39 after hours on the earnings day. Ramped the next day to 50s. Great spot to take some off and then reload on dips. I'd be cautious if it starts to stay heavy at the 39 level. 39, 50, 40, whatever, right around there. If it can't start to form a base at the 39.40, that's where I'd be careful. But so far, fantastic. Those of you guys that watched the video on it know what my thoughts were, and so for right now, I've held a core position just because I have such a good average on it. Why not let it work and kind of see what happens. APWC, this one had a major run. The chart looks a little screwed up. It didn't have 2 days of it. Let me see if I can fix it. There we go. But as you can see, looking left, right? So, from an intraday level, you should assume that it's going to have trouble with that 220, 225 level. And, if you go back and look, obviously it did. It had trouble. It popped through, went over it for a little bit, came back and failed. However, volume was huge. So, I continued to hold this one. I've had it for a couple days. Once again, there was a buyer in tape a couple days ago, and it started to hold trend. So I started to scale in on Friday in the 140s again. And so I just let it work, trade some around the core. But, these types, you never know. Maybe you wake up on Monday and, somebody's up there at, 280s, 3s, and it goes nuts pre-market. So that's the only reason I held some of that, just in case they do that, because there was 30 million shares. It was no small number. It seems like there's been a continual soak, and it's always been a one-day wonder. So at some point, if somebody positions and they get a PR or they get the wrong person on the wrong side, then we have one of those crazy moves. SUP has been fantastic. Once again, we talk about this all the time. This was a long idea from the last couple. I don't know if it was Sunday scan. I think it was, but last couple weeks on my scans for members. But you can see the wicks that we talk about. So you can see this base kind of formed, and every time it went under the 185 level, they absorbed it. And then once again, if you look at the dips over here, it comes down, back up, comes down, back up, down, back up. And each week open gets soaked. So I've just been letting it run. I still have a position. Unfortunately, I don't have a very big position. I sold too many, but anyway, it was still a great idea from the 180s, the 2s. And like I said on the scan, that basically 210 level was the trigger for continuation. So that worked out well. In the last three, KCAC, RKT, and LU. I already posted these on Twitter on Friday. Just for me, some bigger picture ideas. And, the only position I have right now is RKT. I traded at KCAC a little bit on Friday, but it just ran too much and also kind of ran away from me. My goal was to participate in the trade on weakness. They've got the merger vote in a week and a half or so. I think it's either 2 weeks or somewhere right in the middle. But anyway, we're right into some big resistance over here. But this is a former runner, had some huge moves. I think it could be a good player this week. But like I said, lower the better. And I'd start to look for a position there. RKT, lower the better, but set an alert around 2350s, 24s. And this is the kind of setup that we've seen on like XPEV. You've got that big move, pulls back, fails, and then it starts to go again, fails, and then they take off. Right? So we've seen this time and time again. DKNG, same thing. You've got that consolidation pattern, starts to have these fake breakouts, and then bam, they just take it off. So, you got to go with the times. And that type of move has been working. Same thing even with NIO. You've had this fake breakout, and then big fail, squeeze, fail, squeeze, and they know what they're doing. They're trapping, and then they're going. And so that's what I want to look for on these. And then the same thing, LU. It's had some great volume. This day actually says 30 million, but it was very small. It was just a block at the close. You can see right here, which was about, I think it was 20 million or so. Let's see. 16, yeah, about 17 million shares at the close. So, it's trading about 10 million shares a day, which is pretty good. But I'd wait to see if there's some options that form on this thing. And I don't know how long that is, 30 days or so since the IPO or less in some instances. But at any rate, I think this could be a player to just keep on watch. I don't have any right now. Like I said, it ran away from me, but, what are you going to do? Anyway, State of the Market webinar this Thursday, 7 p.m. The link is in the bio for you guys to sign up. Make sure you give a thumbs up, hit the like button, because that's good for us and it shows me that you appreciate these videos, as well as leave a comment, because if you leave your key takeaway, you are automatically enrolled for potential Momo Traders book, potential t-shirt, or once a month we give away a month of IU. So I think that's it. We'll see you guys all tomorrow, Monday, and I think we're going to have a crazy end of the year, like I've been saying. It's just the volume is something that I've never seen before. I don't see it going away. Even if market pulls back, I think that these new sheriffs in town that with all these algorithms and 100 million shares here, 100 million shares there, 200 million there, I don't see that stuff going away. So I think somebody's made a lot of money and they figured it out, and I welcome them every single day, as long as I'm not on the wrong side of the trade. So we'll catch you guys tomorrow, and have a good rest of the weekend.